Hello, and welcome back to Turnaround Politics. Today, we're going to change things up. We're going to be looking at the importance of Ohio historically and with this current election for the presidential election. So, let's get straight into it. There's a beautiful picture of Ohio. So, let's move on. I have this article written by Cleveland.com. It talks about the 5 numbers that say a lot about the presidential politics in Ohio. First one is it's the Dean of Swing States. No other state, as it says here, where I'm highlighting, no other state comes even close to Ohio's run of consecutive elections picking the president with 14. The next closest is Florida. So, if you guys like this video, please comment that you would like to do more about this. I might do Florida next. I might do another state that are going to be close in the upcoming elections. But please comment down below if you like this video after you've watched it and say if I should do more like this. So, 14 consecutive elections picking the presidential winner. That's very important for this election. It's a very close election right now. And who knows, it might break Ohio's run of consecutive elections picking the presidential winner, or it could just extend it. So let's look at number 2. Just how close does it get? It's historically been very close between the 4 elections from between 2000 to 2012. It picked both the winners, so both George Bush and then Barack Obama for his 2 terms. And add up the 22 million votes cast in those elections, the 2 parties were separated by 145,000 votes. That is extremely close. The GOP presidential candidates hold a razor-thin victory margin of about 0.7 over the Democrats in that combined time. They excluded Donald Trump's elections because he won by a significant amount in Ohio. Props to him. 8.4%, if I'm not mistaken. That would severely skew this data, and I have more stuff coming up of why the 2016 election might not be a great indicator of where Ohio's going. What about 2016? 8.4, if I'm not right. I think that's what it is. Yeah, no, I was a little bit off, but I was very close. Trump's margin of victory was the wildest in Ohio since 1988. I will be getting to this election. 10.9 points when George H.W. Bush defeated Mitchell Dukakis. However, this election is a very important one to bring up. He won by a lot, but George H.W. Bush was a one-term president. And what could that mean for this upcoming election? Do candidates that win Ohio by a huge margin of victory end up being one-term presidents? It would be interesting to see. But races were much tighter between 2000 to 2012 by 4.6 points or lower. This little map is showing all the counties, likely the lean counties, the solid counties. Those are where big cities are. Those are suburbs. There's moderate-sized cities. These really red areas are more rural areas. Split returns in 2018. It just talks about how Ohio can still go blue in the elections. The 2018 election house. It's not really that important. It's hard to see a correlation between U.S. House races and the victories for the presidential elections. But one of the things is the combined votes, 52% went to Republicans, 47.3% went to Democrats. But in a Senate race, the Democrats did win. Just said, it's very hard to tell with elections that aren't presidential elections in toss-up states what they mean. Because if you just looked at it, you could see that the only statewide election was a senator, and she won. So obviously, that means they're going to vote for a Democrat. Or you can look at the House races and be like, well, they voted Republican, but then why did they vote for Democrat? It's not a great indicator. And this just talks about how there's nearly a 13-point swing in an upcoming debate location in Westerville. It's trending blue. Hillary Clinton won it by 49 points. Won it at 49.6% of the vote. Sorry, I can't speak. But we'll never know what it's actually going to be like until the election happens. Let's move on. This is a little blurry. I'm sorry for that. I couldn't get a better election, but it's good enough to see. So 1960, it looks very red. Then 1964, it turns almost completely blue. All counties in Ohio voting for Democrat there almost. Then 1968 turns way more red, but with still a lot of blue. And then in between 8 years, it went from almost all blue to almost all red. This is very important to note because this can be a lot like the 2016 election. Donald Trump won that by a lot. The next slide shows Donald Trump's won a lot in red right here compared to previous elections. But as we've seen in this, it happens quite frequently, actually, when blue turned red, then flipped heavily towards Democrats in 1976, then went more Republican, more split, very blue, quite blue. Not really a whole bunch of red, but it was not a significant one, but it was a good win. Good win, good win, good win. And then we come to 2016. Heavy win for Donald Trump. When you see this much red, it's very hard to say that the other candidate's going to win. So, we've seen in the past Ohio flipping real quick from blue to red. Can we see it going from very red to really blue like in 1964? I don't know. But election polls right now do not suggest that that's going to happen. But let's look at the changeover from the 2016 presidential election to the 2018 U.S. House elections. We only see about one county, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 counties flip from red to blue, not a significant amount. It's mostly going to be suburbs areas where moderately populated, not cities. Trump has been losing suburban votes, and this is an indication of that happening, where you see a lot of the blue switching over next to another blue, showing that people either moving out of cities to suburbs that were Democrats, or suburb voters moving towards the Democrat side. Not a significant thing. I'm pulling up this partisan breakdown of the members of the U.S. House from Ohio, and it just shows that even since, as of November 2018, after the election, the Republicans technically gained a seat, but it was a vacant seat. I don't know whether it was held previously by a Democrat or a Republican, but Republicans pick up a seat, Democrats stay the same. The 2018 election, a fair number more blue Democrat, didn't affect the outcome of the election. That's very important to see. But let's go over to 538 with this 2020 elections and see what it projects the Ohio election. So they simulated over 40,000 times, and Trump wins 56 in 100. Very close election, though. All these are very close, but one of them, a very significant win for Donald Trump, 62.3% compared to Biden's 36.5%. It's huge for Donald Trump to see numbers like this. It would be a dream to have Ohio win by that much for any president ever, but it's good for Donald Trump to see that he's winning in this simulation, since Ohio has called the last consecutive 14 elections. Now let's move down. How has the forecast changed? Donald Trump has separated a little bit, but according to September 10th, it has shrunk down a little bit. Let's look at the popular vote, though. It says 80% come around this number, which is about 49.5% for each of the candidates. Ohio's been fairly close this election. Donald Trump's winning on average by 1.1% of the vote. The popular vote, doesn't matter how much you win it by, you win all the electoral college votes no matter what. Now let's move down to the current polling going on. The most recent polling was done Morning Consultant or Rasmussen reports. They are around the same time. One had Biden +4, one had Trump +5. However, Morning Consultant has a better rating, so we should more see with that one. Donald Trump winning by +5. A lot of the polls having Donald Trump winning, and Only two have Biden winning. One is even. Interesting to see how close this election will be. So they have a little statistics of today's vote share if the election were to held today. 49.8% of the vote for Biden, 49.1% to Donald Trump. Well, it's interesting to see that while these numbers are showing that Trump is currently winning, and it shows that currently Donald Trump is winning, but it's the average with the economy and incumbency-based projections. But it does say that vote share for November 3rd goes more Donald Trump's way. What's important to note there is that this is one of those projects that show over time Donald Trump will do better. So it's something I've really hit on, is that over time Donald Trump will do better. He has a pandemic going on. He has a lot of stuff going on in this country. And so, that's very hard to get over, but it's only going to get less bad over time. But let's go on. This next slide, before I switch over, I want to talk to you guys about it. It is going to show you how much of an influence the state is, Ohio, is in the upcoming elections, according to the simulations, and how much it's typically won by. So let's go to voting margins. Ohio is the second closest state in voting margins. That is huge. Big toss-up state come this time. It was in 2016 too, but then Donald Trump won it in a landslide. So it'll be interesting to see if polling stays the same. North Carolina is the only closer state with only a 0.8% favor for Biden. Ohio has a 1.1% favor for Donald Trump. I would agree with that advantage. But let's look at tipping points. That's an interesting. Ohio's called 14 of the last consecutive presidential elections. They picked the winner. It's a very influential state. A lot of times people win. Whoever wins Ohio, they win the election. And no Republican president has won his seat without winning Ohio since Abraham Lincoln. So Ohio is a very important state for Republicans to win. But tipping point. This is where how much of the state, whoever wins the state, that state being the tipping point in that election. And it just has Ohio at a 2.6%, very low percentage for what Ohio should be. States like Pennsylvania are much higher. Florida, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan. States like those are going to be much more influential in this election than Ohio. And Ohio's recently seen a tick down in how many electoral college votes they've received. They are at the lowest since the early 1900s or late 1800s. They're at the lowest mark for electoral college votes, and they're at the lowest mark for their percentage of votes in the election, with just around 3.7% of the electoral college votes coming from Ohio. Ohio's definitely seen a decrease on how important it is, and this is just further showing how unimportant Ohio is in elections. Ohio still is one of the few states that is above 1%. We see all these other states down below 1%. However, it is still above 1%, but 2.6 barely puts it higher than Texas, which Texas has been a historical very red state, and it only puts it about 1% higher than New Hampshire, which is currently polling. This show forecasted vote share of Biden winning it by over 8%, but current polling has New Hampshire at 11, 10, 9%. Colorado, Biden's almost winning it by almost 10%, and it still has a better tipping point than Ohio. I don't know if we've seen the last of Ohio being a very important swing state in elections. I hope we haven't, but we might have. But thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to the video. Watch this beautiful picture of Ohio while I speak. And please leave comments and telling me how I can make these videos better for you. Please subscribe. One of the biggest things you can do to help my channel is subscribe. Please like and subscribe. Share this with your friends, anyone you think who would like this. And leave comments down below to help me make better videos for you guys. I want to bring good content to you guys. I want to bring informational content to you guys. I have a degree in political science. I feel like I know what I'm talking about. However, not you can't predict elections based on polling or anything else. I just want to help help everyone better understand polling and get a better understanding of how it is important. However, it's not something that we should always pay such huge attention to. But thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. And here's the end of the video. Thank you for watching.